we're gonna actually try putting my mouth where my money is, or my money where my mouth is. I'm gonna be playing each class up until about level 15 or so, and then I'm gonna remake the video that so many people disagreed with.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
Fine, I'm willing to try and see the error of my ways. And I'm going to start off with the Enchanter, because that was the one that everybody said is the class that should be S tier. It's S++ tier. So I already been playing it a little bit. So we're going to keep playing it and try to get to level 15 and see how that actually goes. Again, the same rules are going to apply. I'm not going to be twinking. I'm not going to be given any gear. I will use any money that I make, though, to buy gear for them, if that's the case. But that won't necessarily be, it's not necessarily how it's going to work on a new server, so I'm going to try to keep it to a minimum. Because essentially the first 15 levels of a game is when you're going to actually experience, I think, the breadth of the character. I don't have the tiny dagger, so I'm going to have to go buy one. Perfect. I'm glad I wasted the mana. So far, I will have to say, I did forget while I was doing the review, because I remember back in the day not being able to afford any spells, because some of the stuff sells for a bit more than what it used to, and cloth barely ever dropped. I think you didn't start seeing cloth drop until you got to the orcs. But it's very possible that they did. I just don't remember it. So, but being able to pick up some cloth and actually sell extra pieces actually allows you to have a little bit of gold to buy the spells that you need. So I did forget with the Enchanter that you do actually get a pet at level 1. Something that I had forgotten. Wait a minute. I'm lost. Wait. No, not that way. This way. Nope, not that way. Way. Hopefully, oh yeah, it's plenty bright on the game. Wait a minute here. Wait. I'm not lost, you're lost. Okay. So that was the one thing when I was doing the Enchanter I did actually forget about. I thought the first pet wasn't until level 4. It turns out it's level 1. So I decided to make a Dark Elf, obviously, because that's just what you do. I think it's the best version, probably. I think the one that most people are gonna go towards, just because of the ability to hide. Which, again, yes, it's only 50% successful, but it's still instant and it just has a cooldown. And I found using invisibility was a bit of a chore. So. Again, it's mainly for, I can buy a bunch. It's mainly for, the list was mainly for people who were kind of looking, didn't really know where to start. There's not a whole lot of content out there for EverQuest, especially for Project 1999. There's a lot of hype about new servers and new versions of the game and stuff, yes, but I don't find there's very much in the way of tutorials or anything like that. Is it going to be perfect? No. Is it going to be wrong according to somebody else who has 19 level 60s or what have you and has played the game on Project 1999 and live, you know, and continues to play from day one until now? They're going to have a completely different view of it. Of course they are. But I just try to think of it from the perspective of a brand new player, and that came from having discussions with multiple people in my guild. And they all said the exact same thing. Really don't know where to start. I really dislike the fact that I started with a human Shadow Knight. I thought humans would have a bonus or something. I wasn't sure. I played back in the day. I played a little bit. I mean, the only reason Project 1999 came up for me was it popped up on a video one day. Somebody had mentioned it, and I remember getting into it for the first time like 3 years ago now, or 2 years ago now. All right, pet. Get over here. Buff. And then fight. So I'm just going to be grinding my way through. Oh, now he's going to kill my spider. No? All right. I will try to take tailoring up as well, just so I actually have something as well. I would actually like to stream it, but time is a factor. Yeah, and I just hit level 3, so we're going to be grinding our way through. And I think most people took the video from the perspective of the end game, from the end game forward, or the only thing that happens is the end game, rather than looking at it from a new player's perspective, where you really don't want them to be turned off in the first 10 minutes of playing a game because they chose a rogue. No, I better back off. There we go. I don't want to die. Where's my pet? Oh, there it is. There. And I know people say you have plenty of mana. You really don't. You really, really don't have plenty of mana to work with when it comes to having no gear. And the majority of arguments that I saw with the video was, oh, well, you just get this gear. You just get that gear. You get this piece of gear. It's not relevant. Again, I believe I specifically mentioned the fact that I didn't actually have any level 60 characters on Project 1999. I just don't have the time commitment for it. And I even said, I believe towards the end, that I think the inverse would be the same, where basically the list would flip once you get to the end game. Because warrior becomes more valuable, clerics become more valuable. Wizards probably are more valuable as well. Oop. Bugger. I don't need to do that. It's a common misconception for when people look at lists and they don't take in the full context of the entire video, and I don't blame them for that. But it is to be taken from the context of a new player's perspective, or a returning new player. Because rogues, in reality, I don't know if Project 1999 actually fixed rogues. They did something to fix them, or they were fixed later on after Scars. Rogues were positively hated in Classic, namely because of pickpocketing. And then it turned out that they were pretty good damage dealers. And obviously the aggro pull and stuff like that. That adding evade, I think, in Kunark, mid Kunark, I think it was. I can't remember exactly, because I was playing a rogue. I switched from a Shadow Knight. I got so fed up playing the Shadow Knight with the massive experience penalties. I had to switch to a rogue, and I ended up playing a rogue right until scars, and then I couldn't solo, I couldn't do anything. It was pretty miserable. And most people were dying off by the time, like mid scars, a lot of players were dying off. Like they stopped playing. Now, again, the thing is too with EverQuest, it's always only a matter of time. You can pick any class. It really doesn't matter what class you pick. Ooh, got a shirt. You will eventually level all the way up. It doesn't really matter. You can play any class right to the end. It just depends on how much time you're willing to sit around waiting, which again was the argument for wizards. That wizards are good. You just have to sit and med a lot. Okay, well that's not exactly what I prefer. My preferred playstyle is. But if you're fine, you know, I think I might have edited it out of the video, but I think I said that playing a wizard is akin to being the best class if you're a smoker or a vapor and you have dogs and you have to take them out to pee. It's the best class for that. No, hands down, S tier class. Yeah, I think having the pet at level 1 and having the money to be able to get it, I think it makes a difference. Like I said, the memory that I had was that enchanters didn't get a pet, much like mages, until level 4. And, you know, there's a very strong possibility that I made other errors like that as well, where I assumed it was one way and it was actually another. It was like Cellos. Cellos, I remember only being able to buy it in High Pass. High Hold, whatever the area is. And it turns out maybe it was always available in Freeport. I didn't remember that. And if that turns out not to be the case, that it is available, it goes even higher. But if it's not available and you have to go to High Hold or High Pass, then High Hold Keep, right? That's what it's called. Then it makes it much worse. The Bard is probably the worst class to start off with because you don't get your Cellos, which is one of the best abilities. Instant cast Spirit of the Wolf, 6-second cast Spirit of the Wolf, I think is crazy. I think people denouncing the Bard as one of the best class starting off, it really doesn't. I've seen so many people in Freeport start off just with nothing. Start with basically nothing in their inventory, just as I am here, and swarm kiting nonstop with no gear on. So it's possible. Now, would people have thought of that back in the day? No, they wouldn't have. But that tech, it exists now. It's new tech, right? We figured it out. And I think that was one of the things a lot of people back in the day also didn't realize. But the Bard was still a really good class back in the day too. Although people didn't swarm kite and stuff like that back then, at least not in the beginning. They might have later, but they didn't in the beginning. But I do want to try to grind these classes out. It seems like the first few classes are going to be casters, Enchanter, and then I'll do probably Wizard for sure, even though I've done a Wizard twice already and I hated it. But that's just my personal preference. I think you just absolutely suck in the beginning of the game. think you're supposed to give. I think your pet's weapon's better than whatever you can give it right now. And I'm always happy to be wrong, right? I'm always willing to take the chance that my opinion is incorrect. And I think for the Enchanter, I think it actually is, just by playing the first couple of levels and realizing, oh, there is a first level pet. And just for simply forgetting about it, it makes a difference. I would not be able to do any of the stuff that I'm doing now. And I also based some of my experience on memory from original EverQuest and not comparing it to the way it is now. The way it was then, you were competing for mobs non-stop. It was a non-stop competition for mobs. And now it doesn't seem like there's any competition. And there might not even be on a brand new server, which I think is something other people missed as well. And I know I waffled between saying, oh, it's a Kunark one, it's not a Kunark, there is experience penalty, there's not experience penalty. I'm surprised more people didn't call me out on that, because I did kind of wiffle waffle on that a little bit. And I should have more clearly laid out the intentions of the video at the beginning. Definitely. What do I get rid of here? I gotta keep the spider. I'm gonna get rid of the bone chips. And again, like I said, I'll try to limit myself to what I think would be available on a brand new server. Like, I remember the Flowing Black Robe was available very early on in Classic, because people just grinded basically right out until they were able to get in there, and then they grinded out Magenta, and they were able to get Flowing Black Robes, and then they started selling them, making some cash. Obviously, I did also forget about the Mana Stone. I do remember in Classic when Mana Stone was banned. It will be available early on, but my guess it would be so overcamped that you're not getting it. You're not getting it. The average person isn't going to get it.
The sky split open. I stood still.
Oh, wait, Spiderling? Okay. Don't want to target one of those golems.
Every word you left burned like fire. But the cold in my chest won't expire. Was it love or just a lie? Was it hope or a goodbye? Ashes in the rain, falling like pain. Every drop screams your name again. Ashes in the rain.
I also did enjoy playing Monsters of Memory recently too, so hopefully you guys check that video out. It wasn't my best video, I don't think, but I actually wrote a script for it, which is something I generally don't do. But I had a hard time. I tried to get it to about 5 minutes, and I just wasn't able to get it to 5 minutes.
The whispers linger, I can't ignore. You carved your name on the walls of my mind.
And I think I actually made it it was like an 8.5 minute video or something.
Promises were never kind. I scream at the sky, but it doesn't care. The ashes swirl like a broken prayer. Echoes of us in the thunder's roar.
I also think too that right around
Ashes in the rain.
I think it's level 8 for casters. So whenever whenever spells start to be way more expensive, I think is the big. Oh, shoot. This one sells pretty well. I don't think I can. No, I can't. Okay, let me go try to sell. I have to sell. Yeah, I mean, I remember. Yeah, I think the spells are, I think at level 8 start to become, it's either 8 or 12, maybe it's 12 where they start to become like 5 plat a piece. And sometimes some classes need multiple spells. I think there'll still be an economy too, so I think you'll be able to sell your high quality bear skins and all that. I think there'll still be the market for that stuff. That market will always exist. So I can see you having money for your spells, and bone chips will be available. You know, they'll be in demand again. And then as the server ages, of course, it won't take very long for the server to age. And I mean that it won't take long for there to be multiple high level characters on. Probably within the month, I'm sure there will be at least most people will probably have a level 50, if not level 60s already. So that won't really be a problem. I mean, I remember playing my Shadow Knight, and when I first started, and I remember I had a rusty two-handed sword forever and ever and ever. And then I ended up just camping one spawn spot that I don't think actually is even in Project 1999, and just getting high quality bear skins. And I just made some money doing that. And then eventually the first purchase I made was 150 plat, and I bought a bone bladed claymore. And I used it up until level 30 some odd. Horrible weapon. But good for its time. You know. I remember most people were excited to actually see what I was using. And it turned out it was just that. People were like, oh wow, it's, you know, they thought it would look better. I thought it would look cooler, and it didn't. So like a regular rusty two-handed sword that I had already. Okay, non-stop grinding and talking. I got almost 2 bubbles. So again, I don't think it's going to be time. Time's not the issue. I'm just talking about in terms of enjoyment for the class. And I think there are certain classes. I think the wizard is at the very bottom of that list, just in terms of pure enjoyment. Like I said, if you're a person that vapes, smokes, or whatever, has a bunch of dogs, you got to let them out every 20 minutes. I think a wizard is the absolute perfect class for you. Or somebody else pointed out that if you work from home or something, or you're taking a break, you want to do something else, do the dishes, whatever it happens to be, and you're at home, again, wizard's the perfect class. But I think you could say the same for any caster class. I also think I might have put shamans a bit too low on the list too. But they kind of carry a bit, the racial issues is kind of the problem. Having a barbarian Shaman kind of sucks because that area is so brutal. It's good once you get over the hump. I like that area actually quite a bit. I think it's one of the best areas. Once you're like level 4, I think it's one of the best areas to level in. And once you get to know the lay of the land, obviously.
Rise, rise, rise again. Fight like the reckless men. Rise, rise, rise
No,
again.
not fighting that guy.
Never let it end.
And I mean, I do also have an aversion to dying, right? I tend to have an aversion to dying. So, like some people have said about it playing an enchanter, and you can enchant and charm and do that stuff. It's not easy. Not an easy thing to keep dying constantly, and try to. It's something obviously got to get over, but I don't think it's a. Ooh. Give me that. Let's put that up there. And I'm pretty sure that's there. It's not something you can easily get over, right? People have a natural aversion to dying, especially in EverQuest where you lose experience, especially after level 5. Kind of a pain.
Shiver in the fire. Roads cracked and split wide open. Do you hear the call? Do you feel it fall? Rise, rise, rise again. Fight like the reckless men. Rise, rise, rise again. Let it end. Steel echoes through the hollow. Bloody footprints.
Oh, mana.
all follow. A scream against the roaring.
And I think too, with the premise that I'd set up for the video for the Enchanter is Breeze isn't available until Kunark comes out. And I remember it being rough. Without Breeze, it's pretty rough. Now, there might be other classes that I might have missed something on. Maybe Cannibalize isn't there for Shamans or what have you. So that might have been something else I might have missed on, but that's a big factor. I think if you started all the servers, all the expansions are there up to Scars. All of the experience penalties are removed except for the racial ones. If all of that stuff, if it's set up like that, the list would probably change. But that's part of it. That's, if you start off as an Enchanter and you hit level 35, well, what point is it to have Breeze anymore? You don't need it, right? You have Clarity. 30, 32, 30, 36, 32, 32, I think it is. So all of that specific stuff plays a role. So it was to determine on a new server with just Classic, no expansions, what would be the best class to start off with? Because I think I said in the video that at the time when I made it, that there was rumors of a gold server or something coming out, or a server that would a new server was coming out, like blue and green were going to be merging, and there was going to be a new server coming out that was going to let everybody start from scratch. I think this type of game needs that. I think people run out of things to do, and it's always fun to start from the beginning. But I think given those particular rules, I think my class is correct. My class assessment is correct. Again, I'm always willing to be wrong. As I'm sure most people will say that you are completely wrong, and then list reasons why they agree with just about everything I said except for the ranking. So, but that's okay. I welcome a difference of opinion always. probably a fight I shouldn't have picked. Get him. Let's see. And your level 1 pet is actually pretty good for killing these mobs. Yeah. Uh-oh. Now I'm in trouble. And I think just like the mage, I think with not getting a pet until level 4. Uh-oh. Oh, got him. Nice. And uh-oh. I'm gonna get it. Nope. Okay. With the mage too, it was kind of the same. Same with the wizard. Like any class that doesn't start off with a pet at level 1, which again, like I said, I assume the Enchanter did not, which was just a mistake. I think that would put the Enchanter probably. I still think the Enchanter is one of the best classes. It's so much fun to play. There's no argument that Enchanter is the best class to play. Zero. You will never hear an argument from me that it is not a fun class to play. It 100% is a fun class. Groups, especially when you're grouping with strangers, it is one of the most entertaining classes that you can play. It's also one of the most frustrating classes you can play. Nothing was worth more its weight in salt in being able to constantly and nonstop pull in Classic than having a good Enchanter or a bad Enchanter in your group. That being said, I don't think it is for everybody. I think there are other classes for newer players, returning players. You know, it wasn't meant for players like myself that have played it forever and ever and ever. I have every single class except the wizard. You know, pretty much level 50, 51, 52. Again, it's too much of a time commitment for me over like level 52, 53. It's too much of a time commitment for me. Not that the whole game isn't just one big time commitment, but I think somebody pointed out too that a necromancer is probably better than I was giving it credit for. That's probably true. I think necromancer is a great class. I mean, again, there's only one class that I think is pretty abysmal to just play as a active player. I've said this before, is just being an active. You know, you're playing a game. You're not sitting. You got to go walk away for 10 minutes and then come back and play again. You know. Not Tarkov, where you have to wait 30 minutes to get your scab again, and you know when you're broke, right? I that's not the type of game I want to play, and that's for some people, definitely, but it's not for everybody. Uh-oh. I might die. Yep. Go, go, go. Wait. Oh no, it's gonna get another one too, isn't it? Oh no, don't turn on me. Got him. Eat. Did I get bind wound? Yes, I do. Mid combat bandages are the best. Oh no. Now I'm in trouble. Run. Yeah. And he's gonna die. Get him, get him, get him, get him, get him. Got him. Oh! They didn't go after the spiraling. That's weird. Alright, that was weird. Why did they go after the big one and not the little one? Alright, 2.5 bubbles in. And again, that was, you know, the video was really my first attempt at making kind of a long form video like that. It was quite intensive to actually try to make, which is why I really haven't made any videos until recently. It's very time consuming. And you might edit things out like I did when I meant to leave it in, and I might have edited it out by mistake. It's all a learning process. I'm going to keep playing it, and I'll report back, do another video, another point in time, and let you know where I stand on the Enchanter. I think as of right now, though, just being able to have a pet at level 1 really changes my opinion of where I placed it. It's not going to go much higher. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.